oh, look how great safety is. Yet, on the other hand, we keep getting these stupid safety recalls. Word of advice, modern cars are not meant to be driven with the window down and arm out. Do not do that, because what happened was, so the life of an idiot was more important than mine. When the airbag blows up, the government shows up. This is Rip Roaring Garage. I'm Alex, and let's get into it straight away. We have airbag problems, and if you thought the Takata thing was massive, wait till you get a load of this. I think it was on the 5th, so this is like very recent. NHTSA requested a large automotive supplier to issue a recall for something like 54 billion cars. Well, some of you guys have these kinds of cars, but let's dig into it a little bit more. From the Detroit Bureau, we have this article talking about the supplier in question, ACR, based out of Tennessee. For those of you guys that are casual, welcome. Don't be afraid. We're a little rough around the edges, but we're nice, mostly. I promise. Now, NHTSA has not issued a complete list. ARC has not issued a complete list when it comes to which vehicles this particular inflator was installed on. But there's a lot of vehicles, particularly 2010 to 2017, when NHTSA claims that their fabrication process changed by using some sort of borescope or non-destructive inspection to check how these airbags were manufactured. We have a lot of GM vehicles, and apparently Enclave is top of their list. Now, of manufacturers, the list is BMW, GM, Hyundai, which also includes Kia, and Stellantis. This is us Mopar guys. For GM, we have the Buick Enclave, Chevy Traverse, GM Acadia, which are all kind of sister vehicles. 2010 to 11 Malibus, 8 to 17 Enclaves, 15 only Acadias, and 13 to 17 Traverses. I don't think you guys are the type to own any of these vehicles, but who knows? Maybe you got a winter beater, so be on the lookout. As of now, there's no recall, but just watch your mailbox. BMW got the X5s, a bunch of versions, as you can see right here. Models are Ford did the same for the 17 Mustang and F-150s. Apparently, these were already recalled. Now, a quick reminder that Speedboat still out. Airbag or no airbag, we still love our cars. Do the subscribe thing. Like, if you're just casual and you like it and whatever, but no, you don't have the time, just give me a like.
Hand me more beef.
Hand me your license and registration.
Hand me my ticket.
And a brief parenthesis here. YouTube is screwing us over big time. They're going to be picking all of the ad locations. So before, I would put the minimum I thought I could get away with so YouTube doesn't do it. Now it says, screw it, we're going to do it anyways. And if they don't like your channel, what you're saying, they're probably going to put all the ads at the beginning to make it click off. So I fully endorse ad blockers. Let's talk about how airbags are made. This is literally the airbag that broke my neck. I am not a big fan, and I'm going to get into that at the end if you want to see why we're in this mess and why it will never end with recalls and problems, because it's always a trade-off. Current recall talks about canister welding, and you can't see it here. That's the whole point of why these inspections require a borescope, so they can see inside. The charge is underneath this centerpiece where the connector goes in to set the detonator. Under that, there's an area that's welded, and apparently those welds can get into the vents, which you can't see. Take my word for it. They allow gases to escape to prevent the bag from inflating too fast and too hard. Now, I left everything intact on mine. Normally you see these cut up and whatnot. Oh God, It still smells of that explosive kind of, anybody in the military, you know that smell. So what was happening is, as the bag inflated, like I just pulled out, welds will break off and clog those ejection ports. And having nowhere else to go, the gases would actually start breaking the whole canister apart by overpressuring it. And now this device becomes a claymore. Face towards enemy. Right there. Yes, it was a Ford. So herein lies the problem. At what point do manufacturing defects or just age, corrosion, or decay become severe enough to issue such a recall? And this is where ARC is fighting NHTSA. What is NHTSA claiming? How many injuries? I'm going to look to see if there's mention in this article. However, our buddy over, no thank you, Steve Lehto, he has a video, of course, him being a lemon law, written several books about cars, particularly Chrysler turbine. I will fight him on this. The man says turbine. It's not turbine, it's turbine. Ein, like the brand kind. It's turbine. I worked on airplanes. I work with the guys at GE and Pratt & Whitney. It is turbine. I don't know who told you that. It's not turbine just because it's engine. Because if that would be the case, you wouldn't be alive, you'd be alive. Or you're going to live your life. Or you wind your clock. Or the winds are blowing really strong. You get my point? It's turbine. End of story. Moving on. He goes into the fact that...
Come once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
We all remember the Takata airbag story. Well,
all right, let him talk there. He talks about the fact that there have been 5 injuries and 2 deaths out of 54 million vehicles. Isn't that part of the acceptable risk, the unknown? We don't know the situation of how these deaths occur, what the whole situation, the totality of circumstances. Like for me, what did me in was the fact that my window was rolled down. Word of advice, modern cars are not meant to be driven with the window down and arm out. Do not do that, because what happened was my head went forward, airbag pushed me back, and my head karate chopped the B-pillar. And that caused some severe damage to C456, crushed my spinal cord, pain, agony, suffering, the tears. There are all these events and circumstances that are not tested for. So what are you going to do? Every time there's something that occurs, you re-engineer it? Well, then are you going to retest that new re-engineering for every possible situation and circumstance? And what if you're the one that draws the unlucky straw, so to speak? We're going to wait and see what happens with this. ARC is right now refuting NHTSA's claims, saying this is not an issue. NHTSA is standing its ground, but here's where kind of I have a problem with things. Forget about the fact that government lately is very unreliable, untrustworthy. All they do is just tax, and they think they have a solution to a problem that only creates further problems, like the perceived threat of plastic straws. Straws used to be plastic wrapped in paper. Now they're paper wrapped in plastic. There's government for you. You know what? I'm going to look for that. So, still painful to watch. Okay, you know what? I'm going to let it play out. Let it play out, and then I'm going to offer my commentary on this, because this is the kind of stuff that used to happen. Sweep it under the rug, and then people forget and only remember the images. Oof. And I'm... Damn, that's painful, painful, painful. That poor car. And then they're going to show you how great modern cars are, because they're not unbiased. They promote this kind of stuff to, oh, look how great safety is. Yet, on the other hand, we keep getting these stupid safety recalls. Right there. What is that? That's rust. So you're talking, look at the amount of rust, man. That is a lot of rust. I remember at the time, this is back when threads were a thing. It's an X-frame car. Those were questionable at the time. Agreed. But they wouldn't crumble to this effect. You know, we wouldn't be alive because our parents would all be dead because they all drove these cars. What they did was take out a rotted car and just gussy it up, polish it, and just destroy it pointlessly. Because we've seen accidents like this. I was in an accident like this. I was newborn. I was sitting in back of a 1972 Continental. This is the age when you can jump in the back seats and all that. I was sleeping. I was literally like a pre-toddler baby level, still gaga-gooing and pooping in diapers and I was quadrupedal at the time. This E350 cargo van slams into us on the Brooklyn Bridge. It was severe enough to where the van broke the front solid axle. It wasn't going anywhere and caved in. The Continental, I will post the photo up here. That's it after the crash. The only damage it had, the flip up emblem popped out, lost on the bridge somewhere, and it was a minor dent, which you can't even see. This car had things removed, supposedly. Now, you know, be fair. There are rumors that they did, in fact, cut the frame to get this kind of result, which I don't even like the idea. It's like, what? They tested another car and it performed too well? They wanted something more dramatic for the cameras? Because the reality is that all of this is a form of wealth redistribution, but it's health redistribution. I get injured. My neck is broken. I am no longer in the military. I'm no longer law enforcement. I am going to the VA, struggling to the point where even once a week is tough because I got all these appointments and all these things I'm doing. Medication for the rest of my life because airbags will save your life if you're doing 100 miles an hour or something and hit a freaking concrete wall or Jersey divider. So the life of an idiot was more important than mine. If you get injured over a minor thing that otherwise would have been totally okay, no injury whatsoever, that to them is unacceptable because we must save the idiots. Oh, but what about if it was your wife or girlfriend and she gets hit in a car by a maniac? I've been in that kind of situation where I lost somebody. You don't punish everybody else. You make the crime of a collision out of negligence serious. That's a thought. So you do something 120 miles an hour, slam into a car and call and hit somebody or kill them, then you charge them with attempted manslaughter. Why do I have to have my life ruined for the idiots to have a better life? Or worse, to have the perceived idea of safety. You think about it. If I was to hit this, and instead of this giant assembly, there was a nice little cushion that could absorb the impact. Sure, I might have a broken nose, maybe a couple of broken cheekbones, but my spine would be okay. This is the problem with safety. It's great for headlines. It shows how this device saved this person's life without asking the question of, well, what other consequences are there? Who gets hurt out of these things? Same thing like welfare. Like the song says, all the old beasts are milking welfare. We have to keep an eye out because Dodges are included in this potential recall. 2010 to 2017. If you have an older Challenger, still keep an eye on it. I know 2017 and onward, it's no longer the case. Drive a little more gingerly. We take responsibility for our actions. That's how we do it here. And I will keep you updated. So do subscribe. If you miss it, at least you'll know that I won't. And I'll bring this news to you. So I'm Alex. This is Rip Roaring Garage, where oil is thicker than blood. Hand me a like. Get yourself a t-shirt if you already haven't. And I hope you have a rip roaring day. If you want your car to be reviewed on Rip Roaring Garage, send an email with the photos to Dakman at directive25.com with the title Rippers Rides. Life moves on. Moves on. Moo. What am I doing? Some of the new refished eating faceful airbag. Be a captain of your own speedboat.